Excellency is an honorific style given to certain members of an organization or state. Once entitled to the title Excellency, the holder usually retains the right to that courtesy throughout his lifetime, although in some cases the title is attached to a particular office, and is held only for the duration of that office. Generally, people addressed as Excellency are heads of state, heads of government, governors, ambassadors, certain ecclesiastics, royalty, and others holding equivalent rank and the fief for president. It is sometimes misinterpreted as a title of office in itself, but in fact is an honorific that precedes various titles, both in speech and in writing. In reference to such an official, it takes the form His Excellency, in direct address, Your Excellency, or, less formally, simply Excellency. The abbreviation here is often used instead of His Excellency. Alternatively, it may stand for His Eminence. Government. Heads of state and government. In most republican nations, the head of state is formally addressed as His Excellency. If a republic has a separate head of government, that official is often addressed as Excellency as well. If the nation is a monarchy, however, the customs may vary. In the case of Australia, all ambassadors, high commissioners, governors and the governor-general and the spouses are entitled to the use of Excellency. Governors of colonies in the British Empire were entitled to be addressed as Excellency, and this remains the position for the governors of what are now known as British Overseas Territories. International diplomacy. In various international organizations, notably the UN and its agencies, Excellency is used as a generic form of address for all heads of state and heads of government. It is often granted to the organization's head as well, and to those chiefs of UN diplomatic missions, such as resident coordinators, who are accredited at the head of state, or the lower head of government level. In recent years, some international organizations, such as the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, or the European Union, have designated the permanent representatives in third countries as ambassadors, although they do not represent sovereign entities. This is now largely accepted, and because these ambassadors rank after the UN representative in the orders of precedence of representatives of international organizations, the UN coming naturally first as preeminent. The UN resident coordinators are now also commonly but informally referred to in diplomatic circles as ambassadors, although the UN itself does not refer to them in this way. International judiciary. Judges of the International Court of Justice are also called Your Excellency. Monarchy. Royalty. In some monarchies, the husbands, wives, or children of a royal prince or princess who do not possess a princely title themselves may be entitled to the style. For example, in Spain, spouses or children of a born infante or infanta are addressed as Excellency, if not accorded a higher style. Also, former members of a royal house or family, who did have a royal title but forfeited it, may be awarded the style afterwards. Examples are former husbands or wives of a royal prince or princess, including Alexandra, Countess of Frederiksborg, following her divorce from Prince Joachim of Denmark. Likewise, Count Carl Johan Bernadotte of Wisborg, who lost his succession rights to the Swedish throne and discontinued use of his royal titles in 1946 when he married the commoner Elling Kirsten, Margrethe Wigig-Mark, was accorded the style. In some emirates, only the emir, heir apparent and prime minister are called His Highness. The children are styled with the low-e treatment of His Her Excellency. Nobility. In Spain, members of the high nobility, holding the dignity of grandee, are addressed as the Most Excellent Lord, Lady. In Denmark, some counts, historically those related by blood or marriage to the monarch, have the right to be styled as Your Excellency, e.g., the Counts of Danneske Old Samso, some of the Counts of Rosenborg and the Countess of Frederiksborg. Some of the high-ranking counts, Knight's Excellency can also attach to a prestigious quality, notably in an order of knighthood. For example, in the Empire of Brazil, it was attached to the highest classes, each time called Grand Cross, of all three imperial orders: Imperial Order of Pedro I, Imperial Order of the Southern Cross, and Order of the Rose. In modern days, Knight's Collar and Knight's Grand Cross of the Spanish orders of chivalry, like the Order of Charles III, Order of Isabella the Catholic, Order of Civil Merit, Order of Alfonso X the Wise, Royal Order of Sports Merit, Civil Order of Health, as well as recipients of the Grand Cross of Military, Naval, and Aeronautical Merit are addressed as such. Furthermore, Knight's Grand Cross of the Order of St. Gregory the Great and the Order of St. Sylvester of the Holy See, Knights of the Order of the Golden Fleece, and Knight's Grand Cross of several other orders of high prestige, are often addressed as Excellency. Ecclesiastical use. By a decree of the Sacred Congregation of Ceremonial of 31 December 1930, the Holy See granted bishops of the Roman Catholic Church the title of Most Reverend Excellency. In the years following the First World War, the ambassadorial title of Excellency, previously given to nuncios, had already begun to be used by other Catholic bishops. The adjective Most Reverend was intended to distinguish the religious title from that of Excellency given to civil officials. The instruction outside Solicite of the Holy See Secretariat of State, dated 28 March 1969, made the addition of Most Reverend optional. According to the letter of the decree of 31 December 1930, patriarchs too were to be addressed with the title of Excellency, but in practice the Holy See continued to address them with the title of Beatitude, which was formally sanctioned for them with the motu proprio Cleri Sanctitati of 2 June 1957. Cardinals, even those who were bishops, continued to use the title of Eminence. In some English-speaking countries, the honorific of Excellency does not apply to bishops other than the nuncio. In English law, Anglican archbishops are granted the title of Grace, and bishops are granted the title of Lordship. The same titles are extended by courtesy to their Catholic counterparts, and continue in use in most countries that have been members of the Commonwealth. An exception is former British East Africa. By country, Brazil. In 1991, the Brazilian Presidential Office issued a composition manual to establish the appropriate usage of the Portuguese language for all government agencies. The manual states that the title of Excelência is the proper form used to address the President and Vice President, all members of Parliament and judges, among other officials. Commonwealth of Nations. Within the Commonwealth of Nations, the following officials usually use the style His or Her Excellency: the Commonwealth Secretary-General, Presidents of Commonwealth Republics, Governors and Governors-General, and the spouses of Governors-General. Commonwealth High Commissioners, Foreign Ambassadors, foreign dignitaries who are entitled to the style in their own countries. While reference may be made to the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty, the style Excellency is not used with reference to the Queen. India. The President of India and governors of Indian states were addressed as His Excellency, a custom dating from the British Raj wherein the Viceroy and the governors of provinces were addressed as such. However, newer protocol rules approved will discontinue colonial-era styles of His Excellency. The same release states that in Hindi the style Rashtrapati Mahoday shall replace the erstwhile Mahamahim. The newer style will be Honorable. The corresponding changes in releases from the President's Secretariat shall be from Mahamahim to Rashtrapatiji. The release also talks about the styles of other dignitaries, like governors. Honorable will be used before the titles President and Governor, while the traditional honorifics Shri or SMT should precede the name. However, Excellency will continue to be used only for interaction of leaders with foreign dignitaries and foreign dignitaries with our leaders, as is customary international practice. Ireland. The President of Ireland is addressed as Your Excellency or in the Irish language, a Seoils. Alternatively, one may address the President simply as President or in the Irish language a Irish Tarain. Kenya. The President of Kenya is addressed as His Her Excellency. Pakistan. The Prime Minister of Pakistan and the President of Pakistan are both addressed as Their Excellency. Philippines. The President and Vice President of the Philippines are addressed in English as Your Excellency and Sir or Ma'am thereafter, and are referred to each as His Her Excellency or Their Excellencies when both are present. The President and Vice President may also be informally addressed as Mr. Madam President or Vice President in English, and is sometimes informally referred to as Ang Mahal na Pangulo or Ang Mahal na Pangalawang Pangulo. While all other government officials are styled the Honorable, both titles are translated as Ang Kagalang-galang in Filipino. However, Philippines' new President Rodrigo Duterte had stated he despised being addressed with that title. Portugal. In the Portuguese Republic, the proper style of the President is His Excellency. Somalia. The President of Somalia is addressed as His Her Excellency. Sri Lanka. The President of Sri Lanka is addressed as His Her Excellency. Alternatively, one may address the President simply as Mr. President. Sweden. The Swedish language title and forms of address are Hans, Hennes Excellens and Ers Excellens. During most of the 20th century in Sweden, only 3 persons were entitled to the style of Excellency: the Prime Minister, the Minister for Foreign Affairs and the Marshal of the Realm. During the 1970s it fell out of custom in Sweden to address the Prime Minister and the Minister of Foreign Affairs as such, although they continue to be addressed as such in United Nations protocol and in other diplomatic writing. Today, only the Marshal of the Realm is regularly addressed as Excellency within Sweden. Further back in history, a Lord of the Realm and a Riksråd were also addressed as Excellency. Thailand. The Prime Minister of Thailand, Deputy Prime Ministers, Governors and Ambassadors are addressed as His Her Excellency. United States. In the United States, the form Excellency was commonly used for George Washington during his service as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army and later during his presidency, but it began to fall out of use with his successor, and today has been replaced in direct address with the simple Mr. President or the Honorable. However, in many foreign countries and in United Nations protocol, the President of the United States is usually referred to as His Excellency. Diplomatic correspondence to President Abraham Lincoln during the American Civil War, as during the Trent Affair, for instance, frequently referred to him as His Excellency. In several of the former 13 colonies, the form Excellency is used for the governor. These include Connecticut, Georgia, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina and Virginia. West Virginia likewise adopted the title His Her Excellency from its parent state. The term is used frequently in Georgia on the state governor's letterhead, the text of executive orders, any document that requires the governor's signature, and in formal settings. Excellency is used frequently when introducing the governor of Pennsylvania, the governor of Virginia, and the governor of North Carolina at formal events. The governor of Michigan is traditionally afforded the courtesy title, though it has fallen out of use in recent years. Other governors are sometimes addressed as Excellency at public events. This is a traditional practice that is not at all incorrect, but it is less common, and is the product of custom and courtesy rather than of legislation. Though ambassadors are traditionally accorded the title elsewhere, the U.S. government does not use Excellency for its chiefs of missions, preferring Honorable instead.